Hi, I'm Saam Zonoozi and this is Money Talks. A day in the life of Saam is really all over the place. I'm trying to get better. I've always had little side hustles on the side and I've obviously enjoyed doing a lot of that. I find a lot of the time I've been working full-time jobs alongside my side hustles. So I'm 24/7. I enjoy it though. Like I wouldn't really change that for the world, to be honest. What a day in the life at the moment is a focus on Picante. That's the fashion brand. We currently are trying to put out a lot of new content, a lot of new clothing and new designs all the time, ensuring that a lot of things that we're doing are just fresh and exciting. You've got to be on top of that, especially with a team where it's as small as ours. We need to make sure that we're all over it. Got a business that we started during lockdown. It was called Corona de Garcon. It was focused around meme merch and it was just taking the piss out of streetwear brands. Blew up kind of pretty fast. I don't think there was anyone doing anything like it at the time. We ended up getting a cease and desist from Comme de Garçon. It was a mad one, but we ended up reaching out to the Comme de Garçon team and speaking to the CEO, and he ended up giving us a license to use the Play logo, which was, he said he's never done it before, so I thought that was an insane result from a cease and desist through to a partnership. We ended up just getting the letter, the cease and desist, printing it and putting it on a t-shirt and selling it. All the merch, all profits went to charity. It was going to WHO and it was for their COVID relief support. We sold about £250,000 worth of stock, generated a lot of money for charity. And then we were recognised by Forbes, and I think that was probably one of the best moments just on a lockdown sort of, venture. The biggest obstacle I think I've faced is definitely that move from corporate into self-employment. Being in the corporate world is obviously, it's all fine, it's quite comfortable. And that's a bad thing, I guess, getting comfortable in a role. And I found myself in that position a couple of times. Like, life is good, I'm getting paid and I'm doing quite a simple job. Whereas the ambition in that is, there isn't much ambition. It's kind of, you need to kind of drive yourself to then make that jump into self-employment, follow your kind of passion into whatever business it might be, make that plunge. And if you make that plunge and you're uncomfortable, then it might become more fruitful than the corporate world. I'd been kind of toying with the idea of kind of leaving the corporate world and going into self-employment for quite a while, but it was kind of like, when am I gonna get the balls to just do it? It got to the point where Jude and I were kind of on the fence about it, and I said, I'm leaving my job on this date, never kind of looking back. I don't think I can go back to the corporate world now. Jude and I have a great relationship. We're best friends. We have lots of similarities, but we have lots of contrasts as well. And I think that's really vital, because we do balance each other out when we're talking about certain things. There's lots of back and forth in terms of what we do and what we put out in terms of clothing and marketing, everything like that. We do go back and forth on it, but we always land on kind of, I guess, the right decision. Because good piece of advice I received from someone: always put the business first. What is the put your ego aside. Doesn't matter if you're just one and two people arguing over one thing. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, what is the best for the business. And if you have to put your ego aside and kind of agree with your other half, then you have to. That's one thing I learned. I think it was really vital. So our first release was kind of gonna set the tone for the rest of the releases that we'll be doing in the future. This was the moment that we kind of wanted, the brand to show the most, and we were thinking of different ways that we can kind of hack our Instagram, because it was the very first time we've started their Instagram account, it was tiny. How do we grow it really fast? And we started off private, and we couldn't actually tell how many followers we had at the time. It was, it only shows you how many that are requested. So we had no gauge or no idea how well our marketing was doing at the time. The release batch began obviously with production. We had a certain amount of money, a pot of money that we'd saved up together, and we'd put that money into production in Portugal. And everything that Jude and I do, we want it to be luxury to an extent. We've come from Burberry, our experiences in luxury. It was a longer process than we thought. We started the process in January 2021. And we ended up, our first release was at the start of August. So it was a good 8 months of, sampling, the sampling process, paying a lot more than we thought we'd have to pay. Our first collection was so small. It was only 2 hoodies and 2 sweatpants. We wanted to kind of start off small, but start off with a bit of a bang. We were gifting product to the right people, and it was all being seen on the right people over TikTok and Instagram. And we had a buzz around Picante already, and there was people in the comments on all these pages saying, when is this releasing? What's this? People obviously hadn't seen the price point as well. So that was another thing for us. It was like we hadn't told anybody how much these things were going to cost, and our price point's a bit more premium. When I say our price point's a bit more premium, a hoodie's going to cost at the time was £100 and the sweatpants were 80. So it's not like crazy prices, but it's not like it's not a boohoo. On the day of the release, we unlocked the account and then noticed that Instagram wasn't letting everybody in straight away. So we were like panicking, thinking, I thought everyone was just going to come in straight away. It took us about 3-4 hours for everyone to come through, and we ended up on like 13K. So we started off the account with 13,000 followers just based off all the marketing that we'd done pre-launch. And we were just so happy. Our target was 10,000 and we hit 13. After 13, we were so comfortable to release. We were just thinking this hopefully should go well. Like, let's just do it and see what happens. We released and sold out in the first day. It was like a huge success and we were so happy about it. We noticed when we first released, we actually had like 80% women shopping, but the moment wasn't about, cashing out on that audience. It wasn't like, now let's make some female clothes because we know that women are purchasing. Basically, we're making the clothes for us. I found that we're not making clothes that we don't understand how they work, like female clothes, but we don't really know how it works. We're trying to make general clothes that are genderless so that anybody can wear them, but it's things that we want to be wearing the most. So Bear & Jack was the perfect collaboration for Jude and I because it's our favorite restaurant and we wanted to do a collab with a restaurant, so this was perfect. And it helps us design as well because we have all the context. We don't need to like force context out of designs. A lot of brands toy on like athletics, exercise, different lifestyles around different things, but we noticed that food is kind of a thing that is big in USA but not so big in the UK in terms of partnerships with clothing. So we set out our first collaboration with one of our favorite restaurants, Bear & Jack. We made a really great collaboration with them. We were so happy with the output. We had like an amazing dinner and the clothing that we came out of it was so good. So like it was a really great result of being able to tie in food and clothing to the brand and give it more of an identity. Since then we've kind of pushing food a bit more and we've set up a separate Instagram handle for our guide. It's essentially our take on a Michelin guide. It's the Picante guide. It's looking at our favorite restaurants in certain areas. There's so much more to come on that, and we were gonna look at working with other restaurants in the future as well. I think comedy plays a big part in what I do. I've made a few meme pages that I currently run. I think firstly just the amount of time I spend on social, an embarrassing amount. My screen time is disgusting. Just being on social and making sure you're like on top of trends, and then being able to kind of translate those trends into things that can sort of create emotion from people, and that's kind of what memes are, I guess. I think memes are such a powerful format to engage an audience because it doesn't matter who you are, if you're young or if you're old, if you're in the creative industry or you're not in the creative industry, if you can see a meme and read it and being able to have a subtle nod to something else that you've seen online just will create an emotion which will drive anything. We've had some really great people wearing our brand, been very grateful to see some people support and so happy seeing some of the content out there. We've had Cara Delevingne, Dua Lipa, Drake, Anwar Hadid. Who else? There's been some great people. MC Grinder, Brooklyn Beckham, and his girlfriend, and his wife Nicole. But it's great. I mean, we just want to see more of that, and it's just making sure it's in front of these celebrities. I think with clothing, I think celebrity relations is really important. We got Drake to wear Picante by reaching out to his stylist at the time. I'm grateful that he responded, and I'm really happy that he managed to get Drake the hoodie at the time. But it turns out he wore it, and then he ended up giving one of his hoodies to his mistress at the time. The stylist was like, yeah, he's got the hoodie, he loves it. And then he gave one of them to this girl that he was sleeping with. I don't know who exactly she is. I saw she had like 2 million followers on Instagram. I think she was married at the time. So a bit of an awkward one, but I don't think I should have told you that. We're keen to look at, working with other brands. We're keen to grow this out. It's only been 1 year since this brand has actually been like fully together. So we've been operating for 1 year now. I think our goal is, grow the business, get it into a good place and get the brand identity into a better place. We were thinking, looking at wholesalers and how we work with them. For us, it's kind of, maybe it is major investment from a big corporation like an LVMH or something like that. That is obviously blue sky thinking, but sky's the limit with this sort of thing. Like, it could happen. We've seen some of our favorite brands get, investment from LVMH. So we kind of, we see it's like, possibilities are endless. Like if that's an option, then, we'll reach out and try and work it out. But at the moment, there isn't really an end in sight. It's kind of grow the business, grow the brand, and make it like a household name. Things aren't going to come straight away, especially with building a brand. It's really focused on consistency and making sure that your output is always as good as the last thing you've done. Sort of, starting a brand, you kind of want everything straight away. But what I've noticed is things will come as long as like you're consistent with your output. The end goal for Saam is Lake Como. I'm thinking nice villa on the lake, wife and 2 kids, golf, and that's about it.